Hello and welcome to Theme Park Source. I'm Nick and this is Steve. And this is the first in a long and hopefully very fruitful series on the new theme park coming to Great Britain in 2031, Universal Studios, Great Britain. And it's kind of crazy to say it. But yeah, this is one of the most respected theme park chains in the whole world. And it seems like we are going to get one right here on our doorstep. Steve, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is huge for the UK, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's massive news, and I think with what the media is saying and what you're seeing in the news about it generating, billions of pounds for the economy, as well as created thousands of jobs as well for the local community. I also think it's going to bring competition to the UK. I'd like to say healthy competition. I think that's something that we very much, I think, need, for the country. And I'm very excited about it. I think a lot of enthusiasts are.
Yeah.
We're very much excited about it, aren't we, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anyone that's been subscribed to us for a while will know that we were previously called the London Resort Source because we followed from around sort of mid 2020 up until the project got officially binned. The potential, the construction of a theme park in the Swanscombe area, but sadly that never came to pass. But the reality is that we're with this project so much further forward than we ever even began to get with the London Resort. We already have not only all the land that's been officially bought and I think has planning permission already, but we also have an official announcement from the UK government. Whereas before we only had this sort of vague planning status that had been afforded to it that didn't amount to anything. So what do you reckon, Steve, on your percent that this will go ahead?
Percent? What do you mean by that?
Percent.
Oh, percent.
What's the percent chance?
Percent chance. Well, it's basically, yeah. Well, I mean, it's 100% going ahead, isn't it? Because it got announced this.
I just don't want to. I don't want to believe that it could be 100%.
Oh, really? You still have doubts then?
Well, just by what we went through with London Resort, I know it's
Well,
definitely much further forward, but just I don't know what could happen. Maybe Trump crashes the whole global economy and Universal pull out. It's potential, isn't it?
I still guess it is potential, but it is definitely a lot further ahead than where the London Resort got to, and I think it's had very positive feedback when they did public consultation, and locals quite positive about the project. And the fact that they've had a handshake, from the Prime Minister
Yeah.
and the CEO of Comcast, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Michael Kavanagh, I think his name is. So, and it's good to know that the government are actually, looking at this project as very positive for the economy. It's going to create thousands of jobs, and I think from my perspective as well that the fact that it's going to create competition as well in the UK. I'd like to say healthy competition. I think it'll be good for other theme parks in the UK.
I mean,
And of course,
I guess there's been hints that this is happening for a while, and it makes you wonder whether projects like Hyperia at Thorpe Park were, the scale of those and the ambition behind them maybe was with this kind of knowledge that this park was happening, and hopefully that will continue.
so I think this will be the first episode of many where we'll be covering the Universal Studios Great Britain project. And of course, if you do want to keep up with us and watch our content, then please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the concept art that was released for the park this week. So here we are, familiar sight, a lovely rendered rendition of a theme park that is yet to be built and currently only exists in the hopes and dreams and minds of theme park enthusiasts and families longing for a good day out in the Bedfordshire countryside around the UK and also Europe, and some might even say the world. What is your first impressions of this wonderful creation, Steve?
Well, this brings back a lot of memories when we're looking over the London Resort theme park. But yeah, so far it looks very universal-esque, I suppose, in a way. I very much like the lake in the middle as well. It's a very nice sort of centre point for the park. Um, and yeah, I do also want to say that when concept art was released for Epic Universe, which is the theme park opening in Orlando next month, was actually very much similar to the park that you see today. It was almost an
Yeah,
accurate representation.
it's a
Um,
very good point.
so,
Yeah, I've seen people on X like do side by side comparisons, and it's actually like pretty shocking how close it is. So
yeah,
potentially, what we have here, what we see here, is a pretty good representation of what will be at the park. And I think that if that is what the plan is, this is very exciting.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think if that's the case, and that they're following the same sort of same suit, I suppose, as with Epic Universe, then we could very much be seeing, what the Universal Great Britain theme park's going to look like. So it's looking great.
Yeah, so let's dive in and have a look at some of the things that we can see. So first
Hmm.
of all, um, you know, this is like pretty standard for anyone that's been to Universal Park, is that you have this great entrance plaza with the ball, and I'm not sure there's really like, sorry, it's not a ball, it's a globe. I don't think there's any site more iconic potentially in the world of theme parks than this.
Mm.
So that's going to be just like incredibly exciting to sort of walk into a plaza in Bedford and see that appear before our eyes.
I know it's just crazy, isn't it? Like you can imagine it, could you? Like the Universal Globe in Bedford of all places. But Universal obviously did their homework with Bedford. I mean, it's good links from London and St Pancras, which is where the Eurostar goes into. So yeah, so it's I mean it looks it's very sort of iconic, and also looks a very similar sort of entrance plaza, like you say, to the other Universal theme parks.
Yeah,
Even the entrance as well, going into the theme park itself, that looks very Universal Studios Florida to me. So
yeah. And of course, for anyone also that's been to Universal Park, we know that they have a sort of retail and hospitality area straight after the entrance, which is usually called Main Street. And yeah, this is where you'll find all of your sort of themed restaurants, souvenir shops, various other things, places to sort of hang out that are non-ride related generally. There'll be usually sort of some shows that happen in this area. Like I think we can see here, there's kind of potentially a suggestion of some sort of show area there. And then also on the left here, we have what I assume was probably going to be the one of the hotels. I can't remember exactly how many hotels are in the plan, but this will certainly be one of the main ones.
I think when the CEO was showing this to the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he actually did say that this is going to be an area that will sort of be closed off, sorry, it'll be
Mm,
open when the park's closed. So this will be an area where you can do a lot of
yeah,
shopping, and I suppose playing, whether like arcades and things like that, and eating. So yeah, which I think will be a nice thing for anyone to do when the park closes, and for people staying at the hotel, there's still things to do
yeah.
after
It'll
hours.
very much be the O2 arena of the local Bedford
Mm.
area.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah, and Yeah, I mean, they might even have like a cinema or something here, won't they? Or another
Yeah,
sort of
yeah, that's something they have in Islands of Adventure.
yeah.
I remember I saw it's an IMAX, I think. I saw
Mm.
Inception there, and that was really weird coming out of Inception and then coming into Islands of Adventure, and you're just like, is this a dream?
Doesn't feel real, yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a move around, and so we go around first of all to this small area. There's not too much we can glean from this,
Mm,
but it's clearly like a kiddies area. And some people online have speculated that it might be themed to trolls or something like that, or maybe Paddington. But I
yeah.
can't see anything in here that I can't see any big red um, duffel duffel hats. No, duffel coat, blue duffel coat, red. I can't see Paddington.
You can't see a bear there, basically.
Can't see Paddington. But yeah, we see some pretty standard. Like this looks a bit like teacups here. This is some sort of glider ride, and then this looks like maybe a jungle gym of some kind. I mean, this looks a bit like a
Mm,
burger to me, but I don't know if that's just me. Maybe that's like a teacup, but I think it's probably pretty vague at the moment as to exactly what it will be. And another thing is, I guess this is like some sort of show building here, so
mm,
that'll probably be the main ride, the area. Maybe it will be some sort of I don't know, indoor boat ride or something like that.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
there isn't too much to say about this one, is there? There's not much giving it away of what it could potentially be, but like you say, you get sort of a hint of what the rides could be, and it definitely looks like children's area, isn't it? Um, so, but yeah, it's hard to say really at this point. I mean, obviously this theme park's gonna cater for everyone really, teenage market, I suppose, as well as children's families. Um, so yeah, I think that's quite a nice. Looks quite a nice little area. It looks fairly. I don't know. You can't really tell in terms of scale, but um,
yeah.
yeah, overall,
Yeah. If anyone spots Paddington, just let us know in the comments.
it just doesn't look very Paddington looking at that, does it? But that's
Yeah, I don't see any. I
um,
don't see any Peruvians. I don't see a marmalade sandwich. Don't
yeah,
see any bears. I mean, bears are pretty crucial for Paddington. Honestly, I don't really know what trolls is, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if that's trolls. But yeah, some sort of
right.
kids area.
Yeah, definitely some kind of kids area. So
So we'll go over now before we get to sort of the bigger, more thrilling areas. We'll go over to this one, which is also like a slightly more family-friendly area. It looks like, and obviously the centerpiece here is this coaster. We've had people online speculating that it might be Minions, but again, I don't know. These are trees, not minions, I think. So I don't know whether there's again anything that really 100% confirms that's minions. Yeah,
yeah,
what do
it's
you
hard
think?
to say at this point. I mean, it's hard to even speculate what kind of roller coaster this could be, like manufacture wise and ride type. It because this is just early, this concept art, isn't it? So it's difficult to determine. But I mean, I feel this could be more like the Paddington area personally, and also potentially with those buildings, you could see a 4D cinema in there as well.
Hmm.
Um, uh, yeah, and in terms of the roller coaster, I hope it's. I mean, it looks like it's going to be like a family coaster, but
Yeah, I mean, on some of the other coasters that we'll see in the art,
mm,
you can actually see a train on there, so it gives you a little bit more of an idea. But with this one, we don't see a train, but
mm,
I don't know. It's kind of looking to me like this definitely doesn't look like it's inverted. Um,
no,
but you said that before when we were talking about it that it could potentially look like it's a single rail, and therefore maybe one of those more spike coasters which you control the speed of yourself.
yeah, that's the one that I felt it was closest to what it looked like.
The layout kind of looks like it could be something like that, but I would prefer something like um, I don't know, maybe a spinning ride or something like that. Maybe a bit like the ride at Paulton's Park.
Oh yeah, it could be like Storm Chaser at Paulton's Park. Yeah, I mean, they also got the suspended family coaster there as well, which is, that's really good, even though it doesn't look suspended. I mean, you know, family coasters can also be thrilling, and they could come up with, something quite thrilling, I'd say. But it's, looking at that, it's hard to say. And I think like in the future, we're going to see more concept art anyway. So, and it might determine a bit more of what this could be. So
Yeah. Cool. So let's head round now to the next area. It's kind of hard to again. We're seeing a lot of indoor rides here, and obviously that's because Universal are kind of known for doing 365 days a year. Well, almost. Maybe it's like 360 days a year opening. And in the UK, obviously, gets pretty cold. It's not like Orlando or Singapore or somewhere like that. So I think you're seeing a lot of these big show buildings where, unfortunately, the level of speculation we can go into, as creative and imaginative as we are, is somewhat limited when you see just like a massive block. Yeah.
I mean, dark rides is obviously, like you say, is what it's going to be. They could be like one of the trackless dark rides, or it could be something like Rise of the Resistance. You don't know. But in terms of themes, I mean, I can imagine they're going to want to incorporate like the British films, I'd imagine, into these sort of dark rides.
Yeah.
Very much that's what I'm hoping. I think they're going to go for.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, on this one, this kind of looks a bit like a sort of medieval vibe. So I think people have maybe sort of gleaned from that it could be potentially Shrek themed. We know that they currently, I think, have just opened a new Shrek land in Universal Studios Singapore. So that's clearly an IP that they go with, and that kind of makes me think it could be that. But then also there's always luminous pink rocks that I don't think is very Shrek. So that throws me off a little bit. But yeah.
Yes, that's good speculation. Yeah, I mean, there's a new Shrek film coming out next year, I think. So that that very much makes sense, doesn't it? But of course, theme park's not being built for another 6 years. But but I imagine they will keep churning out a lot of these sort of things.
It's going to be open in 6 years. I mean, it's already technically under construction, I think.
Yeah.
There's some works sites being built. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. So this is a very curious bit. I really don't know what they're getting at here, because this clearly isn't photorealistic unless this is depicting, once Trump has launched the nukes at Russia, and this is
It's almost like it looks like a show, doesn't it, of some kind? I mean, I'm wasn't there a new Waterworld film that came out recently?
Yeah.
Maybe, but it looks like that's what it's reminding me of. Maybe like a bit of a stunt show. But yeah, I don't know what they've done there. I mean, this is where I'm kind of second guessing whether this is early concept art, not really what we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, this certainly doesn't look photorealistic, does it? But yeah, it looks like some sort of big arena, I suppose. So yeah,
almost gladiator-like, isn't it?
Yeah, so it'll be some huge show. It definitely looks like the biggest sort of, as in, show building, as in like for an actual show rather than a ride on the whole site. So yeah, it will certainly be something impressive. And then if we go around a little bit further, we see the first sort of big roller coaster of the that we can sort of glean from, that's actually outdoors. Because obviously there are big sort of show buildings like this that could easily potentially host a roller coaster, but this is one that we can actually see. And yeah, in terms of what kind of ride it is, it's looking like it has a lift hill here, going into a sort of curved drop, and then it's looking like it maybe doesn't have any inversions. It might just be a non-inverting coaster. But then I think what's really nice is that has this characteristic section over the lake that a lot of Universal parks have,
Mm.
where you can stand over here on the other side and see the rides like coming out over here. It's really really nice effect, and obviously when you're on the ride, it's like going to be really cool to like have this bit where you're dipping and diving over the water. And also, one thing I would say is that it looks like a really decently long ride, which is something that really, with the current regime, with Merlin and others in the UK, we don't really see anything this long being built.
No,
So
no, that's true.
that is, really, really good to see.
Yeah, that's something we're definitely sort of lacking in the UK is long roller coasters. I mean, I could even controversially say decent roller coasters. It'd be nice to have a big sort of thrilling roller coaster, which I think will determine whether I'll get a season pass or not. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's it's like for me that's a make or break, I think. And looking at this, yeah, it does look like it spreads along, across a fairly sort of wide area of the theme park, I'd say. Like the
Yeah.
idea of it going over the lake. Again, it's difficult to determine what type of roller coaster it could be, but I mean, people speculate it could be to Wicked, which sort of makes sense.
I
But
don't know if there are any palm
also,
trees in Wicked.
oh yeah,
I think maybe it's just because of the color. I think
yeah,
this could easily be a Jurassic Park themed ride. I think yeah, it's a bit confusing because this lift was saying to me like Intamin Megalite. Like for example,
mm,
Paraton at the one of the Summerland parks in Denmark. But again, we don't really see one of these sort of curved drops so much on those. So uh,
mm.
it's hard to say, but yeah, it's looking like a sort of family thrill ride on the same sort of scale as Cheetah Hunt, I would say, in Busch Gardens, Tampa. And certainly it will be probably one of the top 5 attractions in the park.
Yeah, definitely, I would say so. Yeah, and yeah, it's great to see some roller coasters in the concept art. I'll just add because like Universal Studios Florida, like well, just that theme park alone doesn't it more or less just has sort of dark ride attractions, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
um, this is good to see. I do want to see a lot of variation here. The Universal theme park in Bedford. So that's what I'm hoping to see. Even
Yeah.
though there's more showcase buildings that you see here as well, because there's another one just by the roller coaster there, isn't there? There's like a small one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what you
Um,
mean these ones here? Yeah, there's all
close.
sorts of indoor areas. This looks like, yeah, some sort of fossil walk or something like that. I don't know, like
Yeah.
what's the area they demolished for the Velociraptor? It was called Triceratops Experience or something like that. I can't remember.
The
Where
trial
we,
trails or something.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. And then there's this really nice water feature bit that's looking kind of like, you know, some sort of rapidsy area. I guess that's one thing that we're not
Mm.
seeing is any outdoor water rides or anything like that, which is quite interesting. I guess they probably made that decision based on what they know about the weather. At the end of the day, you can only really go on water rides in the UK between like, I mean, we know because we went on one literally last week and it was awful, even though it was sunny. It was just like so miserable, only like 18 degrees.
I still don't think they should write them off completely. I think they're still, great attractions. I mean, again, like I said, I would do on variation here at the theme park. So, and I think they could do a well themed rapids ride or log flume. One of the sort of well modern generation ones. I'd love to see here. So, but yeah, like you say, there's no hint of a water ride here, is there? So,
So moving on to this huge show building that we see here. I mean, this is massive. The sort of scale of what this is going to be, I don't even know what what it could be, but we had people speculating that it will be just based on the sort of surrounding area, like this, which looks a bit like the Camp Cretaceous sort of play area. That it might be a Jurassic Park themed dark ride similar to the one in Universal Studios Beijing. And yeah, that looks really good. We certainly don't have anything like that in the UK that has that level of technology behind it, where you have, you know, a 4D motion in the cart that you're in, but then also these huge cinema screens that really make it feel like you're immersed in the action, combined with also animatronics, so that it adds to realism. Yeah, that would be super exciting.
Yeah, something unique for the UK, and I think it'll be, you know, be a big hit with visitors here. I think, and you know, I really enjoyed, like say, I think Spider-Man, Universal's Islands of Adventure, and Transformers as well was a really good ride. I can sort of see something along the, you know, lines of that. Um, and like you say, it's a huge building. I mean, I don't know how big like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is, the roller coaster at Epcot, but you know, you could potentially see an indoor roller coaster here as well. So
Yeah, I was just thinking something maybe along the sort of same scale as Gringotts at Universal Studios Florida,
mm,
which, you know, is kind of like a bit of a hybrid between, not wanting to spoil it for you, Steve, because you haven't been on it, but it's sort of a bit of a hybrid between a dark ride and a coaster. It's like
mm.
more of a dark ride than Mummy, but less of a, yeah, less of a
Okay,
coaster than Guardians of the Galaxy. If that makes sense. And
great.
yeah, so it could, yeah, maybe it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, essentially we don't know, but all we know from it is it's a huge, something on a huge scale, and you know, you don't these days need to have something super tall to have a thrilling coaster, because we know we
Mhm.
have, you know, LSM launches and all sorts of gadgetry that goes on that, you know, creates more thrilling experiences like drop tracks and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'd really like it to be a coaster rather than a dark ride, because I think then you've got maybe four main coasters in the park, so that would make sense to me. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, even something like Uncharted at Ventura, but on like a bigger scale. Uh, it was unfortunately a bit of a disappointing ride, but it was still like had pretty good technology going on with like drop tracks, like you say, and projection screens and all that sort of thing. So um, that would be great for, and you know, for Universal.
So just having a look at this little area here. I mean, this I think is interesting because I think it looks like a sort of SNS sky shot,
Yeah.
similar to Doctor Doom at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. On that ride, you have sort of two towers, and one shoots you up, and the other one takes you up and shoots you down.
Mm.
So it could be something like that. And I think what's interesting to say is that this is the only sort of visible thrill ride, as in like a sort of flat ride that's a thrill ride that we can really see on from the concept art. But you know, these are some of my favourites. Well, I don't really like drop towers, but I really like sky shots. So if they do build one of these, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, uh, you can't. There's no other ride that it could be, could it? Really, it's got to be like either a launched or a drop tower.
For sure. So let's now go on to the main event, which is obviously everyone's been waiting for, this huge, huge ride that, you know, just by looking at it from here, you can probably already guess that this is going to be the best ride in the UK. It's hard to think of anything that would rival it, or unless something's built in the next 6 years, you know. Um, but yeah, we've got nothing quite on this scale in the UK. Hyperion is probably the only thing that comes close. Yeah. So, what do you think, Steve? What does this feel like it could be to you?
Well, I mean, it does look like a launch coaster, um, and that also looks sort of like an Intamin top hat as well on the left there, unless I'm mistaken. But but I also sort of think, I don't know, when I first saw this, the first thing I thought of was like the Fast and Furious coaster that's being built,
Mm-hmm.
Universal Studios Hollywood, just
Yeah.
an Intamin spinning coaster. Even though that's just a guess, but um, it could be something along the lines of that, I'd say. It doesn't look particularly long, um, but you know, it looks like it goes into a building, but even so, if this is going to be, like a really good ride type, something quite modern, I'd say, then this should be really great addition to the park. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If you zoom in on the trains a little bit, I think you can kind of make out they look quite similar to the trains that have been proposed for the Fast and Furious ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. They're sort of slightly longer than the regular Intamin launch coaster trains, and yeah, obviously that's a Fast and Furious themed ride, and the sort of idea is that there's a controlled spin on the car so that you sort of drift around. And I think that the layout kind of lends itself to that sort of thing. It has like lots of swooping turns. You can imagine sort of, taking it a sort of on a sideways tilt like that, as if you're drifting. But also, I think that if you look a bit more closely, there's something that I found is that it's hard to say exactly, but I think just from the way that the structure is, what they're hinting at here is that it's two spikes rather than the top hat. So if you see here this like taller one, that looks to me like a sort of straight spike. But then if you look at this one here, it actually looks like a curved spike that curves like this. And what I reckon that means is that this will sort of go through maybe the layout twice or something like that. Going up here first to launch, and then going up the main spike, and then going around this section here, and then going up this curved spike, and then go around this section here into the end. So when you look at it that way, the ride starts to maybe look slightly longer because you have, as well as obviously, going up these spikes, you have the bits where you're going down, and you have like a backwards section as well that makes it all sort of a lot more thrilling and kind of makes the layout make a bit more sense, I think.
It's very good analysis, Nick. Very good analysis. Yeah. Like it. I mean, where the train is does look like where the switch track's going to be, like you say, and then they'll be able to launch you backwards and forwards, which is something I'd love to see. I mean, I love like Tutatis, for example, at Park Asterix. I think that's a fantastic roller coaster. Something along the lines of that, I'd absolutely love. And it kind of looks like similar sort of scale. I mean, we can't really get an idea of height, I suppose, of this ride. But yeah, this is definitely the one that I was, that sort of caught my eye the most when I was looking at the concept art. And like a thrilling coaster like this, as well as the green one that we've shown earlier. These are the sort of rides I like to see. But also, a good mix of the dark rides as well. But yeah, I mean, I could see, I don't know, in terms of like what theme, it could be Fast and Furious as well. I mean, that they're churning out those films like like every year, it feels like, or I don't know, so even if it's something more British theme, like I don't know, James Bond or something maybe. But
yeah, I mean, I was thinking that. I'm not sure the universe have the IP for James Bond. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought they did, but yeah, you might be right. So
yeah, I mean, it was certainly make an amazing James Bond like car chase coaster. Yeah, in terms of the height, I mean, I think it's obviously hard to tell, but it's looking like most of these Intamin coasters that have a spike like this are 200 foot plus. So we may be looking at something that challenges the Hyperia height record, or maybe just under. I think actually Tutatis, having thought about it, is just under 200 foot. Yeah, so it's hard to say, but you'd think that maybe for marketing purposes they might try to challenge the height record.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know if they will have any height restrictions. Too early to tell. I mean, it's just Bedford's close to Luton Airport, isn't it?
Yeah,
if I'm mistaken, but so they might have some restrictions there. But I imagine Universal would want to go for something big. That's what they strive to do.
Shit. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm allergic to Luton
hay,
Airport.
hay fever's kicking. Yeah, exactly. So I
Yeah, sorry. So
think I know where
let's
they
just finish that section off. You can carry on.
Yeah, because I imagine they could potentially have restrictions with Luton Airport, but I know Universal, they do like to go big, don't they? I mean, it's what they're sort of known for, really, their theme parks. So you know, yeah, potentially they could be trying to compete with Hyperion Thorpe Park. We'll see.
We'll see. So that kind of concludes now our first look at this wonderful park. Let's just have another admire of it for a second before going back to just a sort of wrap up, I suppose. Yeah, this is obviously huge news. It's really exciting, and I just hope that there's not going to be any obstacles in the way. And I think that the scale, the time scale, is pretty feasible. I mean, obviously, it's going to be tight to build something like this in 6 years, I think, but from the ground up. But I think we've seen them do that with Epic Universe. That started, I think, groundwork just before COVID, but then obviously had like a huge delay due to everything that happened with the pandemic. But they managed to open it for this year, 2025. So we've seen that they can do it. We know they have the power. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that it all goes to plan.
Yeah, I mean, Epic Universe is a good example of that, really, isn't it? I mean, that went up very fast, and I think 6 years is a reasonable time frame. But yeah, projects can be delayed by all kinds of hurdles. So it's not actually confirmed, but because I think it's about 465 acres, I think, overall. Which is fairly. I mean, that's massive. It's absolutely huge, really. I think Alton Towers is about 500 acres, something like that.
Uh-huh.
I think so. That's the kind of scale you're looking at, really, with this theme park. So yeah, but Universal are probably the type of client that would want to push for their project to be, full speed ahead, I suppose, in some way. And so we'll just have to see what the future holds, really. So.
Yeah, so thanks very much for joining us for this first episode in our Universal Studios Great Britain construction series. Like I said earlier, we're hoping to do all sorts of interesting videos. We're also, when we get to it, we'll end up going over to Bedford and trying to get a glimpse of the site. And yeah, we're really excited to cover this for you over the next few years.
And as always, please do like, subscribe, and comment, and hit the notification bell.
Yeah, and especially please do comment below all your speculation, all your thoughts about this park. What do you hope to see? Are you excited? Are you confident that it's going to go ahead? We really want to start a discussion and hear everything you have to say.
Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, bye for now.
Catch you later.